last night I was going through audio logs, old audio logs.
So these are things that you made notes and stuff to yourself, or
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Like at one point I was like, yeah, this is the first log of many. And then it was just like there was log 2 in there, which was recorded 20 minutes after, and then I never recorded another one. So silly. But that's the classic thing with journaling. I remember grandma told me when I was like 10 or 11 years old, like, make sure to journal throughout your
yeah.
life. And I took it so seriously. I took it as seriously as an 11-year-old could. And just like, life is just so complicated. It's tough to keep yourself on a habit like that. But, you hear that from elderly woman, you
Yeah.
take
A
that
wise
serious,
woman too,
a
for that
wise
matter.
woman, right? Right.
Yeah.
And a writer for that matter.
Hmm.
And someone who spent a lot of time in her later years looking at the past and trying to
She
piece
did.
things together, she would have loved that if she had a detailed journal throughout her history. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
of some stuff. There were some tough times
Yeah,
too. She
that's
probably would
true.
want to get a big old eraser out for that part. But there's no doubt, particularly for when you were a kid, because that stuff gets lost.
100%.
So what I tell people, in fact, I just said just earlier today on Facebook, someone had posted pictures of their kids traveling abroad, and it was these beautiful scenic shots. I'm like, but get the kids in the
Mm.
pictures too.
Oh,
And
yeah. Rookie mistake.
no, but she replied that these are the ones I'm allowed to post. So the kids
Oh, I
didn't
see.
want them to be posting it.
Right.
Well, as long as they're keeping them for now and also for posterity as well,
Right.
because you want to be able to remember. But the other thing, and I've told this to couples, and it's something I didn't do with you guys, and I regret it terribly, is that when
Hmm.
you take pictures or you have a story or you journal it ideally, which we didn't do either. Well, your mom actually was pretty good at that, but she would do a journal like on a calendar where she would show what we did that day, which is a pretty good reference point to begin to then think of a story that might have happened in there. So at least we got that. But when you have a picture,
Hmm.
show that picture to the kids over and over and over again throughout
Right.
their life if it was a meaningful moment. This way, they will always remember it through
Yeah,
that
yeah.
picture. It
Right. Yeah.
works.
You don't realize how much you forget. In one of these
Yeah.
videos or one of these audio recordings last night that I looked at, I was like, yeah, I've been really bummed out recently, but I watched this video of this 92-year-old man recently,
Yeah.
completely shifted my mentality. And in the video, in the recording, I was like, yeah, John, you remember what video I'm talking about. This was like 2, 3 years ago, not even a long time ago. Literally
Yeah.
no idea what I was talking about.
Wow. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And compare that to like imagine trying to empathize with myself as like a 6-year-old. That's a whole different human. That's as
Yeah.
hard to like feel the emotions of as like literally a different person today.
Yeah. And now people today, we have the technology to allow this to happen, right? I mean,
Right.
we could
It's
put
a bit
on a
of a
pair of
wrestling match though, right? There's two sides to that.
right, if we put on a pair of glasses and record everything around us.
Well, yeah, there's the panopticon aspect of it too. You act differently when you're being recorded, but also
Yeah.
you want the separation from the devices. You want to feel more human.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, let me ask you this. When we're on here, do you feel like you're acting different when we're recording? I don't
hundred
feel that
percent,
way.
a
Do
hundred
you?
percent until a point. And I found that for those audio recordings too. It would be like the first 15 minutes, you're conscious of your own movements, of what you say, and then all it kind of just like fades out and you forget about it.
I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable, but
You don't think that you act differently?
no, I don't think I come across like I act differently at all. I mean, I definitely have to be aware of not jumping out of frame, but I
Yeah, you don't act differently in a major way at all. Like you say the same things that you would say otherwise, but there's definitely, I mean, you act a little bit differently. You project your voice. There's
oh,
posture.
man, suddenly I feel like a poser. Well, I mean, I got it for the posture. I've got to kind of keep it in frame. You know,
Right, right.
you're right in that. I do have to be a little careful with. I might have a little bit more of an edit button on,
Yeah, I guess so.
a little bit more. But even
It's
then,
there's a difference when
not
there's an
really.
observer. Like I remember hearing this thing from Ronaldo. He was saying like he wants to just go to the park and play soccer with his son. Someone was asking him about his son. Are you training him and stuff like that? He was like, I want to just go to the park and play soccer with my son, but it's so frustrating because when I go to
Oh,
the park, I feel like I have to put on these appearances. I have to like
yeah,
stand with posture, and there's like
yeah,
the paparazzi and stuff like this. There's all these observers.
yeah.
And
That's
meanwhile, he just wants to have this human moment with his kid.
everyone wants to become famous. It seems right, but I have to say, I think that's a problem. I think it's a
Yeah.
major problem being famous where people recognize you on the street and stop. Once in a while, maybe that's fine, but some of these people are constantly being, and then people aren't typically badgered them. People are pretty cool with them, for the most part,
For the
right?
most part, right?
You know,
It's a
then of course you
squeaky
have those,
wheel situation.
but even constantly being peppered by people that are being kind with you that you don't know, that could be a bit of a challenge as well, I would imagine,
100%, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, because
All right.
sometimes being nice to people is a chore, for sure. Anyone who says otherwise is lying.
S- Um,
Constantly being like,
Not every time, for sure. No way, because I often will get joy and, a
no, no, no,
pickup
that's
in my oh, okay.
having to be nice every
Having to
time.
be nice in a situation where
Right.
you otherwise maybe want to be inward or otherwise
Yeah,
engaged.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it
If your
takes
own
takes
like mental
like right
state is
now
just
right now
very
talking to you, while
right,
being
right,
recorded.
right.
I have to pretend that I
I want
care
to walk
about
into
you
the
and I
other
love
room
you
and
and
give you
stuff.
a slap across the face. Yeah. I'm just chaining myself down right now.
Hello and welcome to Dysfunctional Dialogue. I am John McParland, and this here with me is John McParland, my son, my last born. John, welcome to the program.
Here we are.
That actually came through the walls. We're actually in the same house. We're
Yeah,
literally just
yeah, yeah.
a wall away from each other.
Yeah, I wonder if
Um,
that might be a little bit problematic.
nah, no, no,
Hopefully
no.
not.
It's not an issue. And frankly, if it's not perfect, who cares? you know,
Very
we're
nice.
just having a little fun here. That's right. We're just having a little fun. But what do you say we get into some questions here, John? What do you
All
say?
right.
Want to have a little fun with it? All
Yeah,
right.
hand me one of these guys.
Yeah. So I,
Pick
I
'em
ended
up.
up, I asked one of the AIs, asked for Twilight Zone like questions.
Okay. So, something came up, I feel like, in your podcast recently about the Twilight Zone. Am I wrong?
I'd asked it previously as well for another set, and I did some with,
Is that
with
what it
Melissa.
was?
Yeah, with
Yeah, let
Melissa,
me
where
ask
where
you a question.
everyone.
But before we begin, let me ask you a question. What is a moment in your life when you felt like, am I in the Twilight Zone right now? Have you ever had that happen to you? And if not, what's the closest that it's come to that? Or
So
one
I'm
acting
sure
like
I've had
that?
I'm sure I've had a lot of them. I've talked about one of them on here before, John, and
Yeah,
that was after my father passed. When I was lying there on the bed thinking about doing his eulogy, and I said, "All right, Dad, let's do this." And at the moment I said, "Let's do this," to write it, the light bulb shot out of the ceiling fan up above me, intact, just the glass separating from the metal, and landed on the bed next to me. That was
right.
freaky Twilight Zone related. I mean, that was no doubt crazy.
Yeah,
Another thing that I just thought of was, and this has happened a bunch of times. I could only think of one specific, but I know this has happened a bunch of times. I was in Hoboken, and I was probably living in Hoboken or Jersey City next door the year after. So it would have been in 92, 93 or something like that. And I graduated high school in 84. And out of the blue, I thought about this guy that I've not haven't really talked about and thought about much, if at all, over the years.
mm,
And it just popped into
mm.
my head. And I'm telling you, John, like probably like 4 minutes later, 5 minutes later, there he was.
Right, right. Okay, okay.
It was
That's a
so
whole class
strange.
of memories. It's the Zeus moments. The two of us just had a conversation 2 nights ago, and I referenced it last night as a Zeus moment. It was this time when my mom and I was young, went out. We found this lost dog, really, really, where my mom named the dog Zeus
Yeah, in that period of
as
time
just like
where the
right
dog
as a
was lost.
happenstantial. There was no outside evidence other than maybe the dog's personality to call the dog Zeus. And then we come to find out after the owner is found that the dog's actual name is Zeus.
Yeah, now that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
So
So
we've
that's a
now
Zeus
named that
moment for sure.
a Zeus moment, which is really cool because Zeus being God,
Right,
for some,
right.
right? You
Yeah,
know,
there's levels to it.
a godlike moment, like some kind of
Right.
interjection there from the spirit beyond.
Yeah, really serendipitous.
Yeah, I like that it's called a Zeus moment now.
Yeah,
Let's
right,
hop
right.
into these questions.
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. Would you flip a coin, John, if one side you win $1 billion, but the other side you hear applause at the end of important moments of your life, both good and bad?
Yeah, what about things that you don't even know happened yet? Like you get into your car and like your oil runs dry or something like that, like while you're driving, and you don't even know that and you just hear all these people, yeah, yeah, yeah. Next thing you know, you're stranded like 250 miles.
That's funny. I like it being audibly, like you're not just hearing it, but it's audibly. So like you,
Right,
you could be like you could be like in like these really awkward
right, right.
places and stuff. You'd be in a
Right.
supermarket, you know,
Yeah,
and
you're
all
like
of a
on
sudden you have
stage bombing a presentation. Everyone is just like, where the hell is that cheering coming from?
he brought his own cheering section. He's dubbing it in.
Is it always an applause or are there boos? Like
Well, let's do that one, John. Let's do
does the
that one.
crowd react?
So, would you flip the coin if one side of the coin was $1 billion, but the other side of the coin meant that at random moments in your life, you hear a bunch of booing. You and everyone else hear a bunch of booing at you.
Oh no. All right, well, the other side. Let me answer the question real quick. The other side of the coin is $1 billion.
$1 billion. But
Then it's like no questions asked.
you would take the
Right?
billion?
Yeah, 100. I would flip the coin. Right,
All
take
right.
the
But
billion.
once so you land on $1 billion, you're a billionaire, right? Great.
Hmm.
But you land on the other side, you don't have a billion.
It's a
You
minor
just have
inconvenience.
being
A bunch of
constantly
people booing
booed
at me. Yeah, it's a
every
minor
time you walk
inconvenience.
into a room. It could be, it says random moments. It doesn't say how often this
Well,
random
who
moments
are these
happen.
people? Right?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. All right. If we flip the script a little bit and we
Yeah.
say like, the walls of the Truman Show collapse and the crowd who have been watching my life in perpetuity, I can now hear their emotions. I can hear the uproars of the crowd.
Wow.
Then there's actual stakes in that because at least they have a perspective that I would care about a little bit. I would know where they're coming from. But if it's just like someone's pressing the boo emoji randomly in this, like
So, all right, but I always go back to the one example of,
their boo emoji, does that come
yeah,
up in the final
yeah, it
podcast?
did. Please don't do that.
Boo!
No, but I mean, there's got to be situations where that is just brutal, right? I mean, you go into a job interview, you walk in and just boo, boo, and they hear
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
They hear it too.
Right, right,
Boo.
right. Well, if they hear it too, then there's a whole level to this, where it's
Right.
just like
Because remember, you don't have that $1 billion, so now you literally are just
it's
screwed
just
because you won't even be
booze.
able to get a job. You walk into a job interview, and everywhere you go, you'll be fired within a week. And if
Oh, I think you could find a job. You know, these remote jobs.
the only job you
Listen,
probably
at the end of
get,
the day, we're talking about some booze and versus $1 billion. It's not even a
I,
question.
I like
And
that.
yeah, it's not even a question.
Well, it was a question. I
But
just
let's
I just
lower.
asked it of you. We just debated it back and forth.
All right, I have a better question than this. I have
Yeah.
a question that's a little bit
Okay.
more. I have a rework. The question is, would you flip a coin? On one side, you have $50 million wired directly to your account right after the coin gets flipped. On the other side, you are forced to stream your life, all the major streaming platforms for the rest of your life, 24/7.
And it's every part. That's like when I'm sitting down doing
Every
number
part,
two.
every part. When you're
Every
pooping,
part. So I'm
yeah,
in the shower, like, hey, everybody, yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
all
You
of
would
that
have to
stuff.
get comfortable with it. Yeah,
Yeah. $50 million. Well,
fifty
I mean, you
million
can make
dollars.
some accommodations, right? I mean, you can stream and you can still,
It
you could,
is
you could,
from
you,
your eyeballs. Yeah, it's not like you could put
oh,
the
it's from
camera in
my
another
eyeball. So I'm
room.
wearing glasses. I'm
Right.
constantly
It,
streaming everything
it's
I'm
it's
looking at.
not a choice. Yeah, it's not a choice.
I mean,
And it's
so
not
you
like
could
you close
always,
your eyes either.
no, that's fine. So
There's
you
no
say
there's no
you have to,
workarounds.
yeah, a pair of glasses is glued on you and it's
Yeah,
constantly everything
exactly.
you're looking at.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what everyone does to me when I ask these questions to them, right? And that is ask a question back. Well, could I just block the view for a little while? I
No.
literally could just put a hood over my head or something.
You put something over your head and
The money gets pulled from your account.
no, 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 no. You wouldn't have the money.
Oh, that's right. You wouldn't have the
This is
money.
the other
Yeah,
side of the coin.
yeah.
Now you put something over your head and then maybe it switches to third person mode or something. It's like a spiritual force which guides this. You see what I'm saying? There's no workarounds. You've made a
It
deal with the
goes to
devil.
third person view. Yeah, I think the answer is probably no, because
The risk is too great.
it's less about the shower or the number two, but it's more about some moments in my life I want to be just mine. right?
Right.
And I
Well,
don't know.
this is kind of a bit of a callback to our earlier conversation. So, the upside is, hey, all of it's documented. Your whole life is documented. You
That's
could return
true.
at any moment, at any time.
Yeah,
And the other thing is, you have all of that ad revenue coming in from the streaming services. So
you're getting the ad revenue
you
too,
can't forget
right?
about that.
Okay, so you're making some money. So you're
Mm.
making money. So yeah, I probably would do it, John. I would just be very careful where I was looking.
Right. So then the next
Would
question
you?
I would
No,
ask
hold on.
is,
Would you do it?
no, I wouldn't, because in the eventuality that my whole life is recorded, I'm basically, like you said, you would have to make changes. You're basically kissing your former self goodbye in a way that I liken to literal death. So
Oh, I don't think
for
so.
me, it would be like $50 million on the other side of the coin, you die. Because like part of me would be completely dead at that point. You see what I'm saying?
No, but I think it
Like
goes back to
I would never be
yeah.
able to. I would never be able to have sex and not know that there's potentially 100,000 people watching this. You know
But
what I'm
can't
saying?
are you allowed to at least look away?
Goes third person. Whatever the audience
As
wants.
soon as you look away from the person you have a
It's
relationship with,
literally the,
it
the,
goes.
the devil. The devil is sitting
That's
there as your producing
dude, that's
team.
messed up.
Yeah, the devil is your producing team. He's choosing.
Well, then I couldn't do it then because then it would affect the people around me too much.
Okay, what about this?
That'll be a terribly selfish
Okay, this is the next step.
flip.
Well, it depends how you would spend the 50 million otherwise, right?
No, I think it's still incredibly selfish to all the people in your life that they would constantly be recorded. It's less about me and more
That's
about
true.
them.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, think about it. That's a pact that all of your family and friends would need to
Or maybe they just
abide
wouldn't
by
get the
as well.
pact. I get the money, or they all get screwed. That's
Yeah, right.
terrible, man.
Right.
All right, so
So
there was another side to this that you were talking about.
there's another level to it because this just occurred to me. So if you were to say yes to that, which both of us said no already, but if you
All
were
right.
to say yes to that, I would say, all right, let's hike the amount up to $1 billion on one side of the coin, and on the other side of the coin, we're going to raise the stakes and now include your thoughts. Your thoughts are being broadcasted as well.
I think that actually might be one of my questions on here that I have in queue.
Oh,
Um,
really? Yeah,
I
okay.
think it might be. So wait, you're being video recorded and you're being
Right, right. I
and
mean,
you're
I don't know exactly how the technology would work, of course.
John, I need the specs breakout on that, please.
Right, right.
For me, 50 million would be enough for almost anything, right? I mean, for
Yeah.
me, 50 between 50 million and a billion, you know.
What
And
are we doing?
the other side to that thing is that based on averages, I would likely have much less time left on this planet, you know, living than you would, right? So I have less to gamble here,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've,
theoretically.
I've been factoring that in my
Have you been
responses.
factoring in? You still want to say it, right? Hey,
Yeah,
Dad, you'll be dead. You'll be dead long before me anyway. I got to work out all those other years.
yeah. Right. I went a little PC with it, but hey, we're all thinking it.
Well, we are now anyway. Yeah, the answer is no. It's no. It's no. No
Yeah,
matter
it's
what
not. It's
number
not.
is almost. I mean, I can't imagine there being a number.
Right.
You could take the bullet and just live on your own somewhere, right? And
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
but that's what you said before, how like your former self is no longer everything that you've
Yeah.
done and known. I mean, you could probably occasionally join some parties and stuff like that, but
Yeah, instead of likening it to actual death, like I said a couple minutes ago,
yeah, which is a
I
little
think
much.
that's a little crazy. I feel
Yeah,
like that's a little too much. I would, however, say that it's very similar to saying I'm going to serve a life sentence.
it is a life sentence. It's a
Yeah,
life
I think it's
sentence of sorts
pretty
for
similar
sure.
to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you know what?
because you're kind of
Eh,
in a cage. It's different kind of. It's not physical, but it's a bit of a cage.
But if you were to just go out on your own, do your own thing,
Right.
but not having, I have to say, I don't think I would give up interactions with others. I find,
Exactly.
as you know intimately with our conversations, and other folks
100%.
have seen me on here, I live for this stuff. I just
Yeah.
love the
Yeah, and
banter,
that's one thing that I've learned so intimately from you is to appreciate those
those moments.
long-term, deep relationships in life.
Yeah,
You could spend your whole life traveling around, and for someone who has the quote unquote normal lives like the two of us do, we might look at that and say, oh, like these adventures are awesome, but there's a point where it's just like you want to settle down. You want to
yeah.
have a wife,
Balance is a big
kids.
deal. Look,
Right.
variety is spice of life, travel and all that stuff, that's great. But as long as you're not compromising, as you say, those deeper
Right.
connections by doing so. So striking a balance there, I think, is probably the
Yeah.
biggest win if you're able to do it.
The curious thing here is like eventually that's gonna happen. There's gonna be a 24-year-old out there who says, I am going to stream the remainder of my life. I think that's an inevitability. We've
Yeah,
already seen people streaming 30 days at a time, which
yeah.
is just that's incomprehensible for me. I can't wrap my head around that.
No, I can't
Being
either.
on
And it's
camera for 30
constant
days.
streaming. Again,
Constant
going
streaming.
back to like everything that the person is doing, everything that they're doing is being streamed.
Right, right. Like they're sleeping, they're showering, all of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's ridiculous.
that is a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone will do it, and everyone's got different circumstances, right? For some
Uh-huh.
people, it probably wouldn't even matter to them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, if you're just supernatural in front of a camera.
Yeah, but they also might not have those interpersonal
Right, right,
interactions rather. Yeah.
right.
They might not have that. That might not be a part of who they are, their makeup, so they don't think anything of it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question.
We could do that. We could do that.
Yeah, I'm,
Boy, I
I'm ready
tell
for
you,
number
you
two.
and I, man, when we do these things, we get ripping, which is fun though, because we dig in deep. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
this is close to what you were saying before.
Mm.
Would you flip a coin if one side was $1 billion, but the other side, your life gets a narration voiceover that everyone can hear except for you? How
Oh, that's
crazy is that?
crazy. That's
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
Yeah,
So, like, you
like
come walking into a room, and it could be saying anything, you don't know what it's saying. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
"Oh, here
It's
comes
David
that guy
Attenborough.
again." What's that?
Is this like a nature? This is like David Attenborough. He is inches from his worst mistake.
That's great. That's great.
Unbeknownst to him, the predator is right around the corner. It's like a nature documentary.
I love that. I love that. Oh, what he doesn't know is that the food is about to slide off of his fork and drop into his pants and land
Yeah,
in a very unfortunate
yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah.
You could do
He's
anything
unaware of
with
it,
that.
but no one at the party enjoyed his joke. then,
See,
then the whole room erupts in laughter.
yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, yeah, they really got that one.
that's awesome. The whole room just erupts in laughter.